Now, look, this is a bit unusual for me. This is like working without a safety net. My PA, I think it's politically correct to call your female companion who looks after your affairs a PA, or my associate. But anyhow, my PA, Jacinta, said, why don't you get this person to come in, because I saw her out on the street and she has brought her in. I have no idea really who you are or what you do. I am familiar with your persona, but other than that, we're just going off the top of our heads. So this will be interesting. So did you know who was singing that? I told you that was Style Council. Tell me who you are.
Hi, Sam. My name is Ash Pollard.
Ash Pollard.
And look, I don't expect somebody like you to know who I am.
No, Ash, please don't say that, because Jacinta, who is my PA,
yes,
has told me who you are, but I know a little of you, but normally we would research things about the people we're going to speak to, just so in deference to them, so they don't think, shit, what sort of joint is this that we're running? So other than that, I want you to tell me who you are, for the sake of our listener.
I work in the media, and
Yes.
my foray into the industry was through a reality television show, My Kitchen Rules. Have you heard of it?
Yes, no, I've heard of all the things you're on, but I'm not really that familiar with them. So how did you get onto My Kitchen Rules?
It was a mistake, really. It wasn't planned. It was something that a boyfriend at the time told me that I should do, because I am a fiery individual. I can also cook. And he said, you should go on this show, this cooking show.
So it's just before, so in order to say go on the show, you can't, people like out there just can't say, oh, well, I'm going to go on a show.
Well, I auditioned to be on the show.
So just don't miss any of those steps, because people are
I was getting there. Just don't interrupt me.
Right, good.
I was getting there.
Go ahead,
So
Ash.
I auditioned. And at the time, I was an events manager in the city here in Melbourne. And basically, I made every single step in the auditions, which then led me to be on the show. And off the back of the show, My Kitchen Rules.
If I ask a question while you go on?
Yes.
Now, because this is you gloss over the how does someone say, do they ring you up from My Kitchen Rules, whoever the judges are or the producer, and say, your name's Ash, isn't it? I've seen you. I know who you are. Can you cook? Or how do you actually get into the audition process?
Well, first of all, you fill out a very, very long form. And the form asks you questions about what you do for a job currently, why you love food, what your hobbies and things are, all that sort of stuff. They get to know you. Once you've then filled out the form, you've got to send in pictures of yourself and videos.
Well, there you are. You didn't say any of that.
Oh, I do apologise. So then I sent all of that stuff in, and they liked what they saw. They asked me to then come in for a second audition, a third audition and a fourth audition, which then get harder. And as they progress, you actually start cooking food with your partner. So my partner in crime was Camilla. And
not your real life partner.
No.
Do you have a real life partner?
I do now, yes. But the person that forced me onto the show.
Is this a man or a woman?
A man.
Good.
Yes.
Just checking.
No, that's fine.
But in this woke society.
Woke.
Woke.
You use terminology like woke.
I use woke to my friends who are my age, and they have no idea what I'm talking about.
I don't even use woke, Sam.
No, but this is the woke society is the one that's overcoming us in this day
I'd like
and
to
age.
touch on that, but probably
Yes,
not
we'll
right
get on.
now.
No, we don't worry. We'll touch on anything you want to. So go ahead. So you... they said, can you cook? And you brought your partner in. Where'd you get your partner from?
I met her in Melbourne, just around the traps. And
So you rang her up and said, hey, listen, I've been asked to...
She was studying law at the time, and she deferred her course in law, her degree in law. Then we went off and did the show. She picked law back up, and now she is a very fabulous lawyer in property.
No, please. No,
what?
Ash, look. You rang your partner up, whose name is...
Camilla,
and you said, Camilla, it's Ash here. I've been asked or been
and she told me to piss off.
Thank you. See, now this is interesting. I've been asked to go on a show called...
My Kitchen Rules.
I was going to say, My Kitchen Rules, or Celebrity Chef, I was going to say. My Kitchen Rules, and would you be interested in partnering me? And she said, what? would you be interested in partnering me, and we'll cook up a storm and see if we can take the buttered confection, which is the trophy at the end of it. And she said,
it's a lot of prize money.
well, go on.
So she entertained the idea just purely for me, thinking that we wouldn't get in because obviously she's studying a very important degree and didn't want to get distracted. But unfortunately for her, we got in. And we just rolled with the punches. She deferred her law degree to do the show with me.
Did you rehearse privately? Did they give you? This is probably a good thing that I don't really know how the show works because I can ask you these very naive questions. Do they give you a list of things that you have to cook? How do you practice or rehearse to cook on television to try and win the prize?
I think just generally as a chef.
But you're not a chef.
No, I'm not a chef, but chefs start somewhere. So when they're going to do their chefing school and their course and whatever, they always, you watch all these movies about cooking and things like that.
No, I don't.
Normally French cookery starts
Don't watch
sauces.
any of them.
You got to know all the sauces.
Okay.
If you know all the sauces, know a few good curries, all you have to do then is
smother
prepare,
the food.
Exactly.
Well, there you are.
So as long as you're good with some sauces, you should be all right.
So you went into a very brisk regime of training with sauces and additives and ingredients.
Yep.
So that when they said, could you cook a cordon bleu, you said, could I cook a cordon bleu? Turn it
Cordon
up.
bleu is a cooking school.
Oh, okay.
But I see what you're saying.
Okay.
I
Do
get it.
you? I've got a feeling you won't see anything of what I'm saying because I'm not really sure what I'm saying. So anyhow, so you got to the studio?
Got to the studio and we have to give up our entire lives for a period of 6 months if you do make it to the end. So it's 6 months of non-stop filming, often 7 days a week. Sometimes we filmed 22 hours in a day and that was brutal. Have you ever watched the show? I'll take that as a no.
No, well, look, I haven't because I'm not uninterested in it.
It's okay to say that you are.
Hang on. I'm not uninterested. I'm disinterested, which means I'm not a great fan of cooking and meals and all that sort of stuff. If I knew you before today and you said to me I was on it, I wouldn't miss an episode because it's nice to associate with people, but I have no interest in it other than that. You met with the judges or the people you met, were they supercilious and up themselves and thought they were superior and treated you like you were just the riffraff, or were they quite complimentary?
So the judges were Manu. Do you know who Manu is?
No.
Oh, God.
Go on. Well, Manu.
Do you only know people in football?
I know no one in football.
Oh.
I have other interests.
Colin Fasnich?
No.
Pete Evans. He's quite controversial. Do you know who he is? Paleo Pete, they call him.
Look,
God.
this will sound disrespectful to those people. I'm sure they're great stars and great people, but it's just not a thing I would watch, and it's not my bag. But I know it's hugely successful.
Well, the show is, but if I'm honest
that.
with you, I've only ever watched my season and I've never watched any others because I'm not interested.
Well, that's what I said.
But to answer your question, the chefs that were hosting the series were lovely.
Colin and Paggio, what's his name?
Colin, Manu,
and
Pete.
Colin, Manu and Pete, yeah? So they give you the guidelines and the parameters and the paradigm, the pattern of what they want you to do, and they say, righto, don't stuff it up, go ahead.
Do this in this amount of time, and if you succeed, then you're going through to the next round.
And what about the competitors? Do you cook competitively alongside people, or do you do your shtick first and then the other mob come in?
Well, the concept is long-winded, Sam, and you compete against everybody else, obviously, but they have these things called instant restaurants where you set up a restaurant in your house. There's a fly buzzing around here that's fairly annoying at the moment.
It is annoying.
I can see it's pissing you off.
Well, only because it's pissing you off.
It's fine.
Go on.
So basically...
One of the basic basic drawbacks of cooking, having flies around the food.
Oh, it's
Anyhow,
disgusting.
go ahead.
So we compete against everybody else, and we cook an actual restaurant for the rest of the competitors in our own home. And if everybody judges the meal, no, fuck off!
Yeah, no, well done, and that's it.
That was to
I'm
the
going to
fly.
get some spray in a minute, but it's
Look, I can't believe we're wasting so much time talking about this show
why.
because I've done so much other cool stuff.
Well,
since.
hang on a minute. I'm interested in speaking to you. I know you've done a whole lot of other. We've spoken. We've spent 8 minutes on this so far.
I'm bored.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well. Okay. Well, you take it over.
Do you know what? I'm happy to tell you about MKR, but you don't need to feign interest. It's not that interesting.
I'll tell you what I'm feigning interest in. I'm not feigning interest in MKR. I'm interested to know how I am sitting here speaking to you because my PA said this woman is extraordinary and I've taken her on advisement and I think you are. And I'm interested to know, I did a television show for 25 years and I was asked to come in and just do it off the top of my head, and which we did for 25 years. And you've done, as I understand it, 3 shows, national shows, and this is one of them. And I'm wondering, for the riffraff out there, the great unwashed, how people get into this industry doing this, because most people would sell their soul to
it's funny
get on
you ask,
television.
because I was going to ask you that question. You've had a really wonderful career, and when I was young, I used to watch you on the footy show.
How old are you?
34.
Christ.
But I always
so when
used
I started,
to,
you were 9.
potentially. I mean, I didn't watch you religiously, but I knew.
No, you weren't.
I knew of you.
How old are you?
34, 86.
Take 25 from 34. What's that?
Don't ask me. Hate maths.
9. Yeah, you were 9. I was right the first time. So you're 9 when I started. Yeah.
Yeah, 9. So at that stage, I was born in Tasmania, lived on the Gold Coast, so I was watching you on the Gold Coast whilst you were on the footy show. And I always used to think, I thought you were funny, but I never understood why you rarely smiled and you were always so...
A prick?
Yes.
Yeah. No, don't worry, don't.
But I saw in you all the time there was a warmth, and I wondered why you never, even as an adult now... Because I've just walked around with you in your shed with a bunch of amazing cars, which you spoke about like they were your babies with such passion.
Yeah, only because you were interested.
But how come you never show that on television?
Because now that
do you know how intriguing it is when you open
questions
up?
that I've ever asked you about. I'm getting back to my kitchen rules. Don't worry about that. Don't think we've got off that just because you think you're bored. People listening to this are fascinated. I know what people are interested in. They want to know how people get into this industry, because people go and dig ditches. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, nowadays
work
a lot
in
of
a bank,
people,
nothing wrong with that. But
they get in through reality television. But someone like you through football, obviously.
So I am what I was what I am, or acted like I did on the television, because it is no good having a group of people. There were 3 of us to start with, and then we had a panel of people, ex-footballers and personalities. No good having people who are all the same. You've got to have a diverse collection of people who some are smile and up and about and very pleasant, and others are mean and aggressive and sarcastic.
Controversial.
That's right. And so sometimes half the main show is the people on it rather than the guests you get on it. And so we worked on the fact that we were the so-called stars of it, not stars as in because we think we're great, but we were the people who we thought people would tune in to look at. And if they tune in to look at you and think, I hate that, do not like this person, I just want to see if can reinforce my first opinion of him that he is a prick. And that lasted for 25 years, whereas the other people who are on it, Eddie Maguire and Trevor Marmalade and all the people, James Brayshaw and Gary Lyon and all that, and Rebecca Madden, they're all very nice people, and they all just come across as very nice people. And I go out of my way to come out that I'm not.
So then moving forward and away from the television and perhaps even now in your career, do you remain like that? Or do you ever think, let's reinvent the wheel a little bit and let's show people another side to my...
Let me answer your question. You've almost answered it. You said you had a perception of me because I've never met you before, have I?
Never.
That's right. Like I said, my PA, my associate, dragged you in off the street, and I'm very grateful she did, and said, why don't you speak to this person? I was going to say woman, but we're just gender neutral now in this woke society. And you said, I had the impression of you didn't say this in as many words, that you're a bit of a prick and a bit up yourself and arrogant. You didn't say those things.
Well, I didn't say that.
I know that, but that's what people think. So then... you said, I hear you got a collection of cars. So then you suddenly walked out there and you thought, oh, look at this man. He is so in love with his cars and therefore he wants to show you them, and he's actually quite nice. I'm not saying...
No, I always gave you the benefit of the doubt. I always did, because I realised that people do play to the camera, play to the crowds, etc. But what I think as the years went by and continuing to watch you in the industry, I want to see you, and I want to see a vulnerable you. Yep. And some people hate that. It's hard, it's actually really hard.
You've made me vulnerable right here.
Do you feel uncomfortable?
Never forget this, Ash. Your reputation is who people think you are. Your character is who you really are. But I would never go out of my way to tell people who I am. I'll let them work it out themselves. And I've got a feeling you're steadily working this out. And by the time you leave here today, you probably have no different opinion of who you thought I was before you met me. Or you might have a completely different opinion. So that's the beauty of all this.
I don't form opinions about people on television until I know them.
Well, that's what I said. That's your reputation is people think you are. So are we trading questions here? And I'm very happy to do this because I enjoy this.
I was just curious because you've been in the industry for so long and you were pressing me about how I got in myself, which was how a lot of people get in these days, through reality television.
Yes. I still want to ask you a question about the competitors was there any gamesmanship? Did you slag them? Did you speak badly of them? Did you speak down to them because you were trying to win the trophy? Is this game tactics, or were you told to be polite and say, oh, that's fantastic, that thing you've cooked there, I love that?
Often even the producers would encourage some sort of...
controversy.
Yeah. Always. But my partner Camilla and I never bought into that because I knew how things worked. I didn't want to make a fool out of myself like that, and I didn't want to make anybody else feel like shit.
You wanted to be loved. You wanted everyone to think you're a great, loving person.
Well, we were the villains. But the only reason why we were villainous is because I am honest. So if I don't like something, I'll say it, but I'll never make it personal. If the dish was disgusting, I would say it was disgusting.
Even though that would be personal because the opposition cooked it.
But I would never say it's disgusting because you've got a shit haircut.
But you would say that really tasted bad. Obviously you can't cook.
In so many words, but no, I would never say obviously you can't cook. I would say
what would be the reason was that it was bad?
I don't know, because I wasn't watching them in the kitchen. Like they could have had a disaster. Like they may not have they may have overworked the gnocchi, for instance. And then it was chewy in your mouth.
Heaven forbid. If we overwork the gnocchi, we're buggered.
So that was the sort of thing you were putting up with, and you didn't want to be an asshole because then you knew at some point that will come back to bite you in the ass.
Okay, so this is the last question. I know it's boring. It is the last question on MKR with Manu and Pete and Cole.
Yes, we're getting there.
You finally got through to the end, and they said, and now before the break, we will do the reveal. I think that's how they do it. And then the music goes, maybe style council going da 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 da, and then suddenly they say, and the winner is or are, and you were the winners.
No.
Oh, you weren't the winners.
No.
You didn't win.
No.
So I'm speaking to a loser.
I'm a winner, actually, because I off the back of that show, I was then offered other opportunities. I played my cards right off the back of that.
Why did you lose? Why didn't you win?
Because I don't actually know. Oh, well, I guess we weren't the best cooks. The best cooks did win. Two British boys won.
Someone dissect your food and they cut it open. They say, "What was your final entry? What was your selection?" Well, just say I don't know.
It was actually gnocchi, but I completely fucked the gnocchi, and that's not a joke.
Well, the gnocchi's been fucked by Ash. So all right. So they get a bit of they get a fork and they take the gnocchi to their lips and they savour it and they smell it and they roll it around in the back of their gob and then they spit it out into a spittoon or whatever, and they say, "Look, I thought the pastry probably was overdone or not done well enough, and the sauce." And that's how they do it, do they? And they say, "Thanks very much, but your gnocchi was shit."
Yes.
Okay. And so you
Thank
went
you
away,
for coming on the show. Unfortunately,
there was some remuneration involved. They pay you to do this. Pittance. Like, so how long did the season or the season you were on last?
We were in there pretty much all the way to the end, so we came third, which meant the filming process lasted 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah. So you have to quit your real job, and you commit to filming for 6 months if you make it the whole way, unless you're evicted beforehand. But honestly, the money that they...
Well, come on, what is the money? What do you get for putting 6 months of your life aside to go on a cooking show?
People are interested in this. I can't remember off the top of my head.
100,000, 200,000?
No, it was like $1,000 a week.
What's that?
$1,000 a week.
So I think there's 52 weeks in a year, and there's probably 26 of them are in half a year. You got 26 grand to do it. Or have I got that wrong?
I don't know. So
if you got $1,000 a week, 26 is 26,000, isn't it?
Minus tax out of that.
So you spent a 6 months of your life giving up your job, and so did your legal compatriot for best part of 18, 19 grand.
Yes.
Good God. Well, they should be sued for exploitation.
Well, let's hope this doesn't go anywhere.
It's a joke.
But
that's a throwaway line.
It's funny because people think, oh my God, you get paid pittance, and you really do. But you want to go on this show for whatever your reasons are, and
stepping stone.
And that was, although I didn't realise it at the time, a huge stepping stone for me, massive.
Of course, because we haven't got on to the other two national shows you're on. I hope these don't bore you, but I'm interested in them as well. So you went from MKR with Manu, Cole and Pete.
Yeah.
Incidentally, the other competition, is that celebrity? Who are the people that quit or got the flick?
When?
From a cooking show just 6 months ago.
Oh, no, that's MasterChef. That's
yes, MasterChef.
Gary and what's his face?
Oh, you're asking me.
George.
Yes.
Kalambaris. And Matt Preston, the cravat.
So they're the opposition on another channel?
MasterChef's another beast. Like, that is, I would say that is an amazing show. I mean, I'm not knocking MKR because MKR is fab too, but they're totally different. I feel like MasterChef is a lot about the cooking. MKR is a lot about the relationships and the controversy that the contestants have with each other. And then the cooking.
So just in your opinion, did the people on MasterChef, did they get a fraction ahead of themselves and go for the big dollars, and the network said, now hang on a minute, the cemeteries are full of indispensable people, we can get others to come in?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about the situation, potentially.
Would you rather have been on MasterChef than MKR?
But then you never know, because they could have been offered something at the end of their tenure before that discussion was even happening.
Did you answer that question I just asked you?
What? Say that again?
Would you have rather have been on MasterChef than MKR?
No. Because MasterChef is not for me. I'm more of an MKR.
Okay, there you are. You did answer that question. So I don't know if you've got any questions you want to ask me, but I'm pushing on with this. So then people said, wow, this Ash is a star and we better ask her to do something else. And they did. And what was the next thing they asked you to do?
Dancing with the Stars.
Can you dance?
Yes.
Ish. Yes-ish. So you could cook-ish and you could dance-ish and suddenly you've been foisted onto 2 national shows. So I hesitate to ask this because you might throw the headphones off and leave out of boredom, but how did you get onto Dancing with the Stars? Someone ring up and say, I don't know if you can dance or not, Ash, but how about come and have a crack at this?
Well, when I finished MKR, I felt warehoused by Channel 7, so I felt pushed to the side and forgotten about. And, of course, you sign a contract where you are not allowed to go and get any kind of work for quite some time.
I see. So you have a restrictive contract.
Yes.
And I've experienced that. And I've been warehoused. I finished my contract with the footy show last year. And I had a few things I was interested in doing, and they said, no. we will, what we'll do is we'll sign you up for, inverted commas, the air commas, special project, which means they want you actually to do nothing.
But do you still get paid for these special projects?
This is the final year of this special project contract I have with them, and I have no problem with that. They've been a very good employer. But people say, oh, well, the footy show ended. And I said, no, we were sacked. And they say, oh, not many people say that. I said, well, it doesn't matter how you massage it. If you've been on the show for 25 years and you're suddenly not on it, I reckon that's pretty close to being sacked, which I'm very relaxed about because nothing goes on forever. And we were thinking when we started in 1993 that we were going to do it for 6 weeks, and then we did it for 6 months, and then we did it for 6 years, and then we did it for 16 years, and then we almost did it for 26 years.
Does the prospect of the end of this contract looming make you nervous?
No, not at all, because I was quite prepared for it not. I was quite prepared for them not to retain me for an extra 2 years anyhow when the show's ended. But I enjoy being part of the network and I have no problem with that, but it doesn't faze me at all, except I won't be employed, as in I won't be earning any money.
Right. So does that mean that you might have to start selling your cars?
Yes, I might have to see. And now here's the thing. I don't think we've got onto this. Have you been on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here?
Yes.
Holy shit.
I know.
You've been on, you're a media whore. you're a groupie.
I'd have to agree with you.
Well, what's that is...
In Australia, in the media industry in Australia, sometimes you have to take what you can get.
Ash, that is a backhanded compliment. I have great admiration and respect for the fact that you've been on 3 national shows. Now, you talk about, this was one of the things that my network wouldn't let me do. I was rung by the Celebrity Get Me Out of Here people, and a bloke, very nice man from Sydney, dipped a toe in the water. He said, would you be interested in coming on that show? And I said, I'm happy to say this because this was a private conversation, but I'm not about to say anything that anyone wouldn't know anyhow. And he said, do you know anything about the show? And I did that thing. I said, not really. And he said, do you like the outdoors? And I said, not really. He said, do you like mixing with people? I said, not really. He said, are you interested in animals and things? I said, not really. He said, you would be perfect.
I think we've had an epiphany right here, you and I together. Your contract's about to end here with Channel 9.
Yeah.
And maybe... and this is going back to me asking you about why you never show the real you, the vulnerable you. The jungle really works for some people like Brendan Favola, who managed to completely and utterly change his career off the back of that show.
Him too.
And potentially this could be like fab for you.
Yeah, that is assuming that I'm interested in having people have a different opinion of me.
But you surely surely you're not that much of an asshole.
No, thank you, Ash. I appreciate your candour. So anyhow, just finish this. So the man said, and this had nothing to do with money, or didn't say, what would you be interested in to do it? And so we never got that far. And he said, well, all right. He said, well, thanks very much. It's been a very interesting chat, and we will come back to you. So in the meantime, I said to my network, I said, now look, I don't know if this is going any further or not, but should I be asked to go on there, do you have a problem with that? And they said, oh, my word, we do.
This is now back with Channel 9.
Yes, but who does Celebrity? I'm 10. Yeah, so they wouldn't have known that I had that conversation, but I just thought, in case the bloke says, are you interested? I'll say, no, I'm not, because I'm not.
So you did the right thing.
I did. But so then they got back to us, 10 said, no, thanks very much. We will, we're not, they're very nice. They said, no, we're going to pursue other options, and so they didn't ask me. So I didn't have to tell 9 I was wanted to do it, even if I did, and so they didn't want me to do it. So that's as far as I got with that. So you say, and the reason I'm telling you this is not about me. This is about you. You said, have I been precluded from doing anything else, and would I like to do anything else? And I said, well, that was the only thing weren't necessarily interested in doing, but I was asked to do it because it probably would have been some fiscal advantage to do it, although I never got into, but don't worry, you can think about this, because I'm going to ask you how much you got to do it, but we haven't got onto that yet. We're still in the process of Dancing with the Stars.
Well, I got warehoused by them, and I was beginning to get worried that I wanted to work in the media industry, but how was I going to get a job? Because I didn't have a talent manager.
I tell you what, I'll
someone get that tea towel there.
And what happens is I'll swat it and I'll knock off over half the equipment we're speaking into. Anyhow, go ahead.
So I thought to myself one day, as I went to meet with a publicist for Channel 7, I was sitting by her desk and I saw a list of phone numbers next to her phone.
Yeah, snooping.
Well, no, I wasn't. I just was sitting there.
No, go ahead.
And it dawned on me, that's Brad Lyons' phone number. So he was like the top of Channel 7. And I quickly jotted down his personal mobile. And that day I called him.
You're the best networker. I'm just working out who you are. Go ahead.
And I said to Brad, hi, Brad, it's Ash Pollard. You probably don't know who I am. And he interrupted me and he said, yes, I do. Congratulations on my kitchen rules. And I said, I just wanted to check with you or just check in and say thank you for the opportunity on my kitchen rules. But I also wanted to let you know that I think you're making a mistake by warehousing me right now. I think that you should use me in your network somehow.
Wow.
And then
Isn't that extra? I would never in a million years think of doing that.
A few months
that's
later,
fantastic.
Channel 7 Casting called me and they said, Ash, we would like to offer you a role on Dancing with the Stars.
Wow.
And then I thought, oh my God, I can get a manager now. Because I was trying to get Chris Giannopoulos, who owns Bravo Talent Management.
I know Chris.
I was desperate to get him as my manager, and I chased him at the beginning of my tenure for MKR, after it and in between. And he said, you need to come back with something. You need to come back with a contract. So then I rocked up to his office with the Dancing in the Stars contract, and I put it on his desk and I said, would you sign me now? And he was like, all right.
Well, this is so you were sitting in a office of Channel 7 and you saw someone's phone number and you thought, that is the boss of the network or whoever. I'll give him a ring and I'll say, why don't you employ me? And God almighty, he did. That is extraordinary.
I don't know if he, see, I've still got his number up there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, let's broadcast that. So if anyone's out there, they could all give him a ring as well.
I think I got through to his PA and I left a message with his PA and then he called me back and that's when I said to him.
Didn't have to go and sit in the couch or wear short dress or anything to get it on? No, nothing. Didn't have to.
I've never had to do anything like that in my life.
That was
no cleavage, no short skirt, just a bit of wit and a hard handshake and we're all good.
Yeah, that was That was a joke. That was
Fine.
a throwaway line. I wouldn't assume you would ever.
You don't need to drag it on.
No, I think. So
that and then I guess it just snowballed from there.
And how long was what the question's coming? How long was this season?
I didn't win.
How long was the season?
It went for, I don't know, I can't remember, a couple of months, but it was a live show every Sunday.
Yes, I know what it is, and it's very high rating and very, very.
Well, it was, but then my season was the last season.
You could have been a jinx.
So I don't know whether I was its demise or.
And I know MKR just $1,000 a week for 6 months, less tax. What was the budgeted?
I cannot remember.
Can't
I
remember
promise.
what you got to dance on the stars.
I know that it was more than MKR.
50 grand, you reckon, for a...
I seriously couldn't tell you.
Well, so Chris knows all this, does he? And he took his percentage out and put the rest in your bank.
Yep. He still does it to this day.
No, he's a good man. I know. Yeah. I think
and
he
in fact,
used to manage Mike
Jacinta and Scotty Clayton introduced me to him.
Did
Chris,
they?
Yeah.
Is this my PA who I should call my associate who's dragged you in off the street to do this?
Yes. Your PA who is an old family friend.
Her a rise.
So I haven't really come off the street.
No,
there is a slight connection.
I know that's we're making this a little titivating
exciting
for the listener. But I have never met you before.
No.
And so you did the season with Dancing with the Stars, and you didn't. What dance did you do?
I did all of them.
Well, which was the last one you did? It was for the final. Tango or a?
No, it was like the jive, or I think it was.
Yes, Boogie Nights.
Yeah, something like that. But
Great song, Boogie Nights.
Forgot some moves and just I overthought it. But a
bit like the gnocchi.
Exactly.
Fucked the gnocchi up.
I totally fucked it. So in the end, I came again third. I love coming third on reality television shows. And Matthew Mitchum, who's an Olympic diver.
Matthew Mitchum, yep.
Yeah, and Emma Friedman were up against each other. Emma Friedman is, what's his face, Friedman's daughter?
Lee Friedman.
Lee Friedman, the trainer.
Oh, yeah.
So she won. Matthew came second and I third.
And do you dance, of course you dance with a partner, do you?
Yes, a professional dancer.
So the man, he came and said, "Hello, I'm Frank, and I'm going to dance with you, Ash. Here we go." Is that it?
Yep, pretty much. And then we go hand in hand for a couple of months, training, and then
So you had to do a bit of training.
Lots of it, 8 hours a day sometimes.
And you don't know how much money you got paid to do this.
I mean, I did at the time. Surely you can't recall what you were paid 5 years ago for something?
Well, if I'd spent 6 months of my life doing it, I probably would. Anyhow, I was just interested to know. People interested to know. They think you get millions of dollars to do this.
No, you get pittance.
No, that's all right.
Until you're someone like you who's worked their way up.
Well, this is what you're doing. So, Ash, you've fucked up two things that you've done on national television.
Yep.
You fucked up the gnocchi, and the Boogie Nights routine you didn't quite come off because you forgot half the moves.
Yep.
But you've gone from success to success by fucking things up. Imagine if you get something right. You'll be an international star.
Well, I'm afraid to, because I feel like I've always come off second best, but to me that's winning anyway, because often the people that win don't really get anywhere.
No, because they think they're a fraction better than they are. They get ahead of themselves. So having fucked two. I don't know why I keep saying that word, because we don't usually swear on this. But you started off by the fly. For saying, where's that fucking fly? So then, having fucked two things up, you then moved on to the third, which is I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. Because they thought, well, here's a woman who not only has stuffed up two things on national television, but Jesus, how good would this be if we could get her on? Because people are thinking, why is she on again? She's won nothing.
I feel like I've done something between Dancing with the Stars and that show, but I can't remember.
Maybe the radio? Are you on the radio?
Yes, I am. I've got a breakfast radio show, but I got that off the back of I'm a celebrity after I did that.
All right. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Oh, I've had a cooking show too, my very own cooking show on Channel 10. I travelled the world and
What?
Yep.
Did you meet Anthony Bourdain?
I wish.
Do you?
I do, yes. He was incredible.
Yeah, he was. What an extraordinary thing about I suppose we're just accepting the demise of Anthony Bourdain. How did he? What is the official version of how he died?
Depression.
Was it?
Yep. Mental illness, and then of course
because now see, here's a extraordinarily successful man, and mental depression claims no. It claims everyone who don't have to be in the upper echelon of life. It can grab you.
You wouldn't have known. He just always looked like he was having a fabulous time.
He did. Isn't that extraordinary? Mm-hmm. Well, a bit Danny Frawley-esque. He looked like he was having isn't that amazing? Anyhow, so you had a cooking show. They thought, if this girl can fuck up gnocchi, my word, the sky's the limit. Let's get her on. And what did you do on? What's the show called?
It's called Foodie Adventures with Ash Pollard, and it was on Channel 10. It was on Channel 10.
Yeah.
And
Foodie Adventures. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And did you have an entourage go around the world with you?
No, I had a cameraman.
Yes.
And a director.
Yep.
And they travelled around with me to Thailand, Fiji, Italy, Monaco, and
all contrad.
Sponsors paid for
that's
it.
That's right. That's contra.
Yeah,
and rightly so.
And again, you probably ask me what you're going to ask me what I got paid for that, but I will say that I didn't make money on that show.
I wasn't funnily, because that's I wasn't funnily going to ask you what you got paid for, because that is actually a personal. I know the other two things are personal, but people are interested to know what a contestant on a cooking show or a dancing show get paid.
Right.
But this is a personal thing that is your business. I'd never ask you how much you're worth or how much you earn a year. I wouldn't. I just was interested to know what would be a general fee that you'd get to go on dancing or cooking shows. That's all. So I'm not asking you what you got paid for that, because that's your show. So that lasted for.
I think it's still being played on Channel 10 at the moment. So there were 6 episodes, and they rated very well.
So Chris is still getting residuals for you?
Well, no. Unfortunately, that's not how we signed that contract.
Well, Chris should have signed that contract.
Well,
like that.
we that was an opportunity for me to work with Channel 10, and again, these are opportunity costs, as my father would say. Yeah. For me, that was an opportunity cost. So I did it because I've always wanted to have my own cooking show. I wanted to prove that I could do it.
Yes.
And I wanted to sell my brand.
So I know this will be boring for you. So you got in a plane, you flew over to, I call it Monaco, but you call it Monaco. You flew over to wherever that is, that place, the kingdom.
Yep.
And you had the cameraman and a sound recordist, and you got a skillet and a flame under a bit of food, and you said, hello everyone, this is Foodie, what is it?
Foodie Adventures.
Foodie Adventures with Ash. Now look at this, and off you went.
Pretty much. I mean, I'd meet locals, and that was the whole point. I would fly overseas, meet a local in some different country every time, and learn what it was that they cooked locally to their region. And then I would bring that back to Australia. It's almost like what Rick Stein does. Do you know who Rick Stein is?
No.
Christ.
Is he?
No.
Who is he?
Well, he is in the cooking industry.
Rick Stein. I mean, I'm writing.
Rick Stein, he's fabulous.
I tell you, I've got Emma and Matt.
You and Rick are probably the same age, actually.
I've got Emma and Matt, Colin, Manu and Pete. Mm-hmm. I got Chris as your manager. And who's this man?
Rick.
Woman? Rick.
Rick Stein.
What's he do?
He's a chef.
Has he got a
British
restaurant?
chef, yes, he does. Around the
bit
world.
like Gordon Ramsay.
Yes, he doesn't swear like Gordon Ramsay.
Or us.
No. He's
if
a
fly
very
was in the
polite man.
studio, Rick wouldn't say, fuck off.
No, he'd say, my goodness me.
Has anyone got any fly spray?
Yes. Yes.
We'll get rid of this little annoying little beast. All right.
It was sort of a concept like his show where you go over, learn a cuisine and bring it back to your country, cook it in your kitchen, and then I served it to celebrity guests that would come over to my house. One of those celebrity guests was Dane Swan.
Oh, yeah, was it?
Yeah. Another one was Steve Price.
Steve, where you're sitting, that microphone, Dane speaks into that every week.
Yes.
He records his podcast here. I think it's called Hump Day or something.
With Swanee and Friends.
That's it.
Yep.
And they're very popular. And we've had Steve Price in here. He was very entertaining and interesting about his, about a month before he actually got the flick from everything that he's on. But he got cut, I think, from all the radio shows he's on. I think he's on another Channel 10 program called The
Project.
I was going to say The View, The Project. Mm-hmm. And he's now starting, I think, doing some comments or a little bit of input with Eddie Maguire's breakfast show, The Hot Breakfast on Triple M.
Steve and I were in the jungle together.
Were you?
Yes.
He did well in the jungle, didn't he?
Yeah, he did very well.
Because people thought he was
this
exactly
is why
what
it'd
they
be good
think
for
I am.
you, because everybody thought he was an arsehole.
That's right.
People think you're an arsehole.
Yeah.
So you go into the jungle and then you prove that actually you're not that much of an arsehole.
No, but isn't it, or is it rigged? Isn't it predicated on... No, hang on. Isn't it predicated on who rings in you get voted on
to do trials.
I would say the first day I was on that, there would be an overwhelming number of people who'd ring in and say, get him off.
Off the show?
Yeah, get him off.
No.
Because he's an arsehole.
No, but this is the thing. I think you think that you would be mean, but you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't be mean, but people just have that impression of you. Anyhow, so... righto, we've done it.
I'm determined to crack you one day.
Here's the Ash. This is Ash's world. So you've done cooking show. You've done.
God, how many people you reckon have switched off by now?
Well, I couldn't give a stuff.
It feels very self-indulgent talking about myself.
Do you know why we do this podcast? I do this with Don Scott and Mike Sheahan and I. We don't give a stuff if people listen. We amuse ourselves, and we think if we're interested in ourselves, that we think other people will. And do you know what? We are, I hate to say this, for the no advertising. We don't have any organisation behind us backing us and saying like a media organisation. We are extraordinarily successful because people enjoy what we do.
I think what matters right in this moment to me is, do you find my story interesting?
I hate to...
Oh, jeez.
No, Ash. Ash, I tell you what, I never give obvious answers. I always try and be a little diverse. What in God's name would you think I'm sitting here opposite you doing this? I've got better things to do with my day. I haven't got anything better to do, to be honest. But I don't work. That's what I'm saying. I am absolutely fascinated personally, and have been in the business for 30 odd years. I'm absolutely fascinated how a smart, resourceful, intelligent person manages to get on 3 national shows, gets a cooking show of her own by being diligent and forthright and exploitive, if you like, of the opportunity. I would say that it is fascinating to me because I was a footballer and came out of a football background and was asked by Eddie Maguire, would you like to come on a show with me? And I said, do what, Ed? He said, well, I don't know. He said, we're going to talk about football. And I said, what are we going to talk about? He said, I don't know. He said, why don't we sit down like we're doing now, Ash? Why don't we sit down and talk about football except on the television? And we did it. And as I say, the boss of Channel 9, the late Ian Johnson, said, righto, he said, boys, I'll give you 6 weeks. He said, see how you go. Our first sponsor was a massage parlour called Top of the Town. We're on at reasonably late hours. And then it gathered momentum and it became a beast. And so then we got signed up for another 6 weeks, and that's how it started. I had no experience on television. Well, I'd been on television, had no experience about doing any television live. It was all live to air. None of it was taped. Went absolutely as we said it, and that's why I got into a degree of trouble for some of the things I said over the journey, because your first thought is the one that you come out with and you think, shit, I shouldn't have said that. But it's too late, because that was like working without a safety net. So I'm fascinated by a young person. I was going to say a young girl.
You can.
No, but I've...
Stop thinking you're always offending someone by saying that.
I'm at the age where I think I can say that, but people say, no, doesn't matter what age you are, you can't say that.
Well,
but you are a young girl to me.
I wouldn't overthink it.
So, no, but more no. So here's a young person has just
Woman.
taken... A young person has taken 3 national shows. We haven't got onto this. Third one is the celebrity, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. So how did that happen? So someone rang up and said, wow, you are as big a star as I've seen for a long time. You better come over to the jungle.
No, hardly. I think that the blessing there was that I'd been working with Channel 7 for quite some time. And when another network pays interest in you, that's exciting. So then you think, my goodness, here's another opportunity. And I vowed after the last reality show not to do another one, because I thought, I'm selling myself short here. I'm trying to get to where I need to be, which is radio, and have my own cooking show. I need to show people that I'm not just a whore to reality television.
So brace yourself for the obvious question I'm going to ask you. So you said, I'm not just selling myself. You said one of the great advantages is another network poaching you from the one you've been on. So, celebrity, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. I know Shane Warne reckons, and I'm sure he did get $2 million to do it, and I'm sure someone who was on it that I know got about $75,000 or $100,000 to do it. What did they offer you to...
I'm not telling you.
No, there you are. I knew you weren't going to tell me.
I remember that, and I'm not telling you, because for the first time in my career, I thought, finally I'm getting paid.
I know.
Something that I can actually be proud of.
I was being cheeky. I wouldn't have expected you to, and I would have been disappointed if you had, because someone asked me, someone said, what did they offer you to do it? I said, I can honestly say I'd never got to that stage. I said, what would you have wanted to do it? And I said, I had thought about it, but I'm not about to say what I thought I would do it for, because it's just a hypothetical, and it's just no point answering or pondering over hypothetical questions. So I can honestly say so that's good. So
did you find, though, because your foray into media was through football, and footballers get paid quite a fair amount of money, don't they?
To play football?
Yeah.
To play football they do. But mind you, I finished playing in...
Yeah, so back then...
How old are you? I finished playing in 1980.
I wasn't even born.
That's what I said. How old are you? Yep, that's right. So I finished in 1980. So when I finished playing football, the last 3 years of my contractual obligation with the side I played for, Geelong, I got $70,000 a year.
Was that a lot back then?
That was huge.
Oh.
That was as big a money as there was. And as we speak today, we've just seen a man from Collingwood called Brodie Grundy. Thank you. This is the personal assistant here who dragged you in off the street, Jacinta. The Brodie Grundy has just signed $7 million for 7 years, $1 million a year. So it's all relative, isn't it? So
that is insane.
Why did I say what I earned? Because you said I was a footballer that came from earning reasonable money when I finished playing football to...
Yeah, so did you go straight from football into media and maintain that?
Yes, I went from... When I finished playing football, I worked at Channel 7 on the World of Sport, a program called the World of Sport, for 7 years. And then Eddie started...
But all the while, your remuneration was attractive.
No, not at all. No. You got to just go through the hoops like you do.
Yep.
Like anyone does, unless you are a ready-made star in the profession or the vocation that you're trying to excel at. Unless you have a reputation for it, I had no reputation, and so. As anything, if the ratings and people watch, it's commensurate with the remuneration they pay you, and that's how it works. And ask Kyle Sandilands and
Jackie O,
who Now, Price told us this, so he said that another station in Sydney wanted Kyle Sandilands and Jackie O, and they ummed and ahed, and this other station offered them huge money, and they said, well, we'll go. And he took all their audience, and the station who didn't pay him the money are now ruining it. I think I'm just reading between the lines, because they offered Kyle, and this is what Price said, $50 million for 8 years. And now that's what Stephen said.
God.
And if he says I didn't say that, well, we can go and replay the interview.
That's an insane amount of money.
Well, that's what he said. I don't think I've got that wrong. That's right. The assistant here.
You could Google it. You can Google things like that.
Well, so I would say, and this is, I would say, I'm not sure if it would be a $25 million split, but I would think Jackie O would be pretty happy with anything she got out of that, and so would
she's
Kyle,
on a good wicket too.
And so would Kyle.
Yep.
And so they probably didn't get that sort of money when they started, but they attracted an audience and took the whole audience from the show he was on to another station, and everyone's a winner, I presume. So you went on to I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Did you see someone's phone number in an office one day and you thought, shit, I'll ring that man up and say, you better get me on this because I'm a star?
No, the Channel 10 casting called me out of the blue, or called my manager and asked them if I would be interested. And I didn't say yes straight away because I was nervous about doing yet another reality television show. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought I could probably use this opportunity to my benefit, which it turns out I did. And I was able to display to Australia another side to my personality that they hadn't already seen.
Which is what?
Vulnerability. Because perhaps I'm not as prickly as you, Sam, but I certainly am.
Thank you, Ash.
I'm certainly not somebody that lays everything out on the table. I'm impatient. I am honest, and sometimes to my own detriment. And that show enabled me to relax and, again, as I said, show my vulnerability.
Well, isn't that extraordinary? I'd say my two great features are I'm impatient and I'm, what was the other thing you said?
Prickly?
No, you said I was impatient and...
I can't even remember what I said.
Well, I remember thinking that's exactly what I am, impatient and I don't know. Come on. So
I went on the show and
I said, no, you've got to go over to Africa or somewhere. And
yeah, so they check you in. They make you wear outfits on the aeroplane so that no media can identify who you are. So you've got to wear a hat and lots of long loose clothing. And we're just receiving some coffees here at the moment for anybody listening.
Really?
So you've got to make sure that your identity is concealed as you fly over to South Africa.
You're not allowed to tell anyone?
Not allowed to tell anyone. You sign a confidentiality agreement. So you have to fly separately to all of the other celebrities at different times. Yeah. Everybody stays at a different lodge. And then on the day, your mobile phones and everything's taken from you. Yeah. So then you make your way to where your identity is about to be revealed to the rest of the celebrities.
After the break. We reveal. Yep. No, the big deep voice, the man, that's good. Yeah, so
I remember when it was the reveal time for I'm a Celebrity, Lisa Curry, the Olympic swimmer, thought I was an Australian singer.
What's the only thing you haven't done?
Yep. Maybe I should
bring out a record. You could be a little budgie.
I'll go on Australian Idol or whatever it's called.
That could be the next thing?
Potentially. Wow. And Steve Price and I have exactly the same manager, Chris Giannopoulos
And you're exactly the same height.
Yes, actually we are. But I often would see Steve, although he'd never met me, I'd see him at the Botanic Gardens in South Yarra walking around getting his coffee. And one day I came up and I said, "Hi Steve, I'm Ash, we've got the same manager." And he was kind of like, God, this is unusual, this is weird. He was polite and then said goodbye. Fast forward a couple of months, then we were both in the jungle together. And the day that I met Steve in the jungle, I said, Steve, do you remember meeting me in the Botanic Gardens? And it was so embarrassing. He had absolutely no idea who I was, can't remember meeting me, didn't know what I'd been on.
And you reckon I'm arrogant enough myself?
He was apologetic. And after, when he got to meet me, he realised that he made a mistake by judging me off
there you are.
First impressions.
Your reputation is who people think you are. Now, what I should have done with this is about 20 minutes ago, I said, this is part one of a very informative chat. We should have put this in two parts because when we put this to air, we'll have to assume that people will listen to this for however long it's going, and it's going for a bit longer. Don't worry about that.
God. Well, we can wrap it up at any point in time.
No, I appreciate that because that's my operation here. I'll wrap it up.
Sorry about that. I forgot you were a control freak as well.
No, I'm not a control freak, but you've got me hooked. I'm interested in this.
Just one question, actually, it just dawned on me then. Are the rumours true? Do you get Botox?
Yes.
Oh, me too. I love it.
Do you think I wouldn't answer that?
No.
And no, I know I had a little bit of work done to my face. But
have you?
But
have you really?
Yeah, but
did you get a facelift?
I did. But
how do you do that?
Well, I indirectly I didn't. No.
Can't you just stop? Just say it and then cut it?
Well, we can say. Well, I will say this is part one. So here's a good exit strategy. You said you'd like to be on Australian Idol. No, you didn't say that. This would be the next foray.
I do not.
What song? Do you know a song? What song do you like best? What if you had to? Do you know the words to a song? Because you could sing us out.
No way.
Well,
I'll
do it with you.
Absolutely
I
not.
sang.
Oh yeah, you've got a couple of songs, don't you?
I can play you a song if you can just chat for 1 minute. This is me singing. If I can find this, tell me what were you about Botox?
I wanted you to tell me what your facelift was.
I will tell you. Do you do Botox?
Yes.
Do you?
Yep.
And what? Because it's vanity.
No.
Why not? Of course you do it because of vanity. What else would you do it for? I do it because of vanity.
Well, I do it to prevent wrinkles.
That's right, because you don't want to look wrinkled, and that's vanity, isn't it? Come on, where's my song?
I don't know. I don't know. Is it?
And have you got tattoos?
No, yuck.
Well, see, now I do a bit. I've unfortunately got into the social media. I tweeted the other day, I said, unless you need tattoos to accentuate your brand, what is the fascination with plastering tattoos all over your body?
Why don't you ask Dane Swan?
Well, I asked Dane that here, and I said, I'm not knocking it because you capitalise on it. You see hordes of people walking down the street who look absolutely fucking stupid, and they must think they look great. And I'm wondering who inspires them to go in and say, shit, this will make me look good, putting tattoos all on the inner thigh and round my neck. I don't know.
I think my argument is, you do what you want to do. You do you.
Of course.
But at the same time, I think it's no longer unique anymore. It's common. And so people who have them are now like everybody else who has them, which is the majority of the population. People like us who don't have any tattoos are unique.
This is how bad I am. I can usually find. I'm going to play you.
Christ, this thing's going to go for another hour.
Where's the
amount
song
of
that I
time
sing,
it's taking
Jack?
you
Please,
to find this
where
song?
Is it? It's called "I've Got You Under My Skin," or
Who got me soy?
Where is Jesus? What's wrong with me? I can find that at any time.
I don't know when I've ever drunk soy.
So we're trying to send this off into part two before we get on to why I had a facelift and why. Is this it?